Well, hello there, my bookish besties. Welcome back to my channel. We have so many new friends from the last time I posted a video. So, hi, I'm literally so excited that you guys are here. I'm so excited that you guys have found my little bookish oasis, if you will, and you have come to join in the yap and the gab, my two favorite things. I'm a yapper, I'm a gabber. So, welcome. Another fun thing is that it says inspire others on my cup today. I just think that's just really fitting for this video and this time. And yeah, I'm just really thankful for just the growth that I've seen. So thank you guys so much. I'm so excited. And I do have a question, a poll, if you will. Any guesses in the comments below what my go-to drink at Starbucks is? It's not my normal strawberry acai lemonade refresher, as we can see, but based on this cup, what's my go-to drink? Mainly I'm curious, like the vibes I give off, if I'm being really honest. Anyway, that's not why we're here. That's not why we are yapping today. Today we are yapping about Hunger Games. And more specifically, what stories can still be told in the Hunger Games universe. We've got Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes that was added in 2020, Sunrise on the Reaping that was added in 2025. So we have prequels of President Snow's essential origins, and we have Haymitch's point of view in his games. What else can be added? What else can we talk about in this universe? So strap in, get cozy. I have my Tortured Poets Department sweater on. Yes, I'm a Swiftie, if you can't tell in the back over there. Get your favorite little beveragino of choice, and let's yap. So let's dive right on in. Yes, there is going to be spoiler warnings in this video. We are going to talk about the entire Hunger Games franchise. So if you haven't read any of the Hunger Games books, so happy you stopped in. I'm so happy you stopped in. Take a little pause, take a little breather, read the books, and then skedaddle on back here. And trust me, we'll yap. I'm here for you when you finish. I am your #1 go-to pump-up cheerleader. Let's go. So without further ado, let's talk about what other stories can we tell in Suzanne Collins' universe. One of my favorite things about Suzanne Collins is that she doesn't write unless she has something to say. She will never write a book just for the gab of the money. She don't need it. I guess she don't really care about it. Can't relate. But she only writes when she has something to say, which makes her books and her timing so powerful, especially when they are released. So, of course, we have the original Hunger Games trilogy. She had a whole political satire in there. I have deep dives on all of those videos, so feel free, go back to those videos, watch them, and you'll learn. We also have Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and we have Sunrise on the Reaping, two very important prequel stories set in that universe. Love this universe. I love the stories you can tell, so what else is there? What other stories can we tell? Plutarch has a really, really great quote in the end of Mockingjay. We are fickle beings with poor memories. That scares me because I'm gonna start out real straight. I do not want any new content after the epilogue. Period. Dunzo. No. Katniss and Peeta got their happy ever after. Do not pull a Force Awakens on me where all of the trauma and turmoil that our beloved main characters went through ended up being all for nothing. All for nothing. Somehow Palpatine returned. Somehow Snow returned. No. Do not do that to me, okay? Okay, thank you so much. But if you are going to tell a story in the future, here are some options that I have. Feel free to run with all of them. #1, a Katniss and Peeta epilogue love story. I want a novella. I just want a happy, fluffy, flirty little romance about them falling back in love together. Think Hallmark Special. For my ACOTAR girlies, think Frost and Starlight. That's what I want. I want love. This is like falling down. Excuse me. And honestly, give me an epilogue rebuilding story. We know that Gale's in 2. I'm here for a Gale redemption, similar to how we got a redemption of Gale in Throne of Glass. If you haven't read Throne of Glass yet, sorry for spoilers, maybe. But a similar redemption story. And I'm curious, what is it like to try to rebuild a nation, to build a nation from the ground up? Is there going to be any resistance in 2, knowing that that's where they had the biggest resistance when they were trying to start the revolution in the first place? We know that's where the peacekeepers are being trained. Is there anyone still trying to rally with the capital side? What does that look like? And it'd be great to get it from Gale's point of view. We can also see what Gale is struggling with, his own personal side of things, because we only got Katniss's point of view. We can get Gale's point of view as he's struggling with the aftermath of losing Katniss but winning the war. Maybe he falls in love. I'd be okay with that. But most importantly, can he forgive himself and can he move on? I think that is the only way that I will become a Gale redeemer, and maybe I'll stop saying that Gale rhymes with fail if we see that from him, because we never got that closure in Mockingjay. Another future story I'd be okay with is maybe 2 generations. So Katniss and Peeta have kids. Their kids have kids. That's who the story is around. It's that generation. Because, as Plutarch said, we are fickle beings with poor memories. So while Katniss and Peeta have been in the ground for a hot minute, it's been 100 years since these actions, maybe people forget. Maybe there's a new star on the rise who's trying to take over and take control. Maybe the idea of the capital is starting to be romanticized, and there has to be like a counter-revolution to stop it and snuff it out. But we could see how someone like a Snow or Coin could rise from these ashes some 100 years later to try to retell the narrative. There's a story there, and there's a story around the dangers of that happening, and more specifically, how we cannot forget the past. Those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it. But also, history repeats itself. It's never the same twice, but boy, does it rhyme. So that could be an interesting story to tell as well. But again, I am stressing, dear God, Katniss and Peeta need to live long, happy lives, and they are nice and in the ground when this happens. We are not going to pull a Luke and Leia situation and a Han situation where it's their children. Dear goodness gracious, do not do that. Anyway, let's talk more prequels. Those I'm so much more open, because we have 75 years of content to work with and more. And we have so many different perceptions and point of views that I selfishly want to see. First off, we're just going to say it and we're going to get over it, because I'm pretty sure every single one of you agree with me. Phoenix Games. I want Phoenix Games. I want Phoenix story. I just want Finnick. I want Finnick here. I want Finnick there. I want Finnick everywhere. Yeah, we're ingredients. We can move on. I want the dark days. I want the point of view of the revolution that led to the war. The initial war that started the Hunger Games. We got glimpses of it during Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes when Snow was a kid, but I want to know what District 13 was trying to do. I want to know how they fought the Capitol, how they were trying to rally the districts. I want to know what led them to essentially fail and the Capitol to take back over. I want those juicy details, because what was the Capitol like before the Hunger Games? How brutal were they? How controlling were they? Was it similar just without the games? How were they able to control the districts? Were they still cutting off supplies and food and controlling them through hunger? Did it get worse with the games? I've got questions and I want to deep dive into it. Going into different perspectives that I want to see. You've got 74 years of content here to work with. I would love to see a story from a perspective of a tribute who dies in the arena. And I know that's really heartbreaking. And I know basically from the beginning, we're going to know their fate. We're going to know their fate. But I want it. I want to know like what life in another district is like. I want to know all of that. And maybe it's a novella. Maybe it's not enough to be a full-fledged novel, especially if it's just like a no-name. But I want it. I want to see the propaganda the Capitol uses. I want to see what their mindset is going into the games. And I want to see different angles of the games being played. Not just in the arena, actually, but in the political spectrum as well. I want to see the media. I want to see the propaganda. I want to see those stories. On a similar note, and maybe this could be in the same book, I don't know, I want to see from a perspective of a mentor whose tribute dies. We don't get to see too much from the mentor side of things except in Ballad. In Ballad, we do see a lot of the beginning workings of the mentor, but we don't get to see all the inner workings. We don't necessarily get to see a lot of how bets are made, how the training sessions going, all of the coaching sessions. We don't get to see them living in the districts and being there for reaping day. We don't get to see those keen details, the bond the mentor really builds with their tribute, and then the tribute doesn't make it. We're following the perspective of the mentor, and we see them go through that trauma and that heartbreak, and they repeat it year after year after year after year. How are mentors selected? If you have multiple winners from a single district, how are they selected? District 2. Who's the mentor in District 2 when you have so many victors to choose from? These are questions I have and answers I have. Side note from the creator, the editor, me, hello. I am recording this the day before Sunrise on the Reaping comes out. I have not read Sunrise on the Reaping yet. I currently am reading Sunrise on the Reaping in future tense from me recording this right now on Monday, March 17th. We're gonna back into the story now. I really want to see the perspective of a career, and this could go one of two ways, but ideally, I would love to see a career go through the propaganda. They are from districts 1 or 2 or 4. Ideally, I want to see 2. I think 2 is the one that most intrigues me. And I want to see them volunteer. I want to see them have this gusto, this idea that the capital is feeding them this propaganda, and they are just slopping that up with a spoon. They are training. They have this confidence that they are going to go in and win truly for victory and glory for their district. They are going to come home with more food for their district and more money and fame and power. And I want to see them go through all the motions of the games and slowly realize the reality of what is happening before them. We get a very small glimpse of it in Cato in the very first Hunger Games book, where he says something around, he realizes it's all a game. He's like, what was all of this for? We also see it with Coral in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes when she's like, I did all of this for what? I want to see that from the perspective of the career. I want to see them going through this mindset shift. And in the ending, one of two things can happen. They can have that revelation right before they die, or they could have this revelation as they win. And they are forced to kill the last tribute, and they realize they are all alone. They are forced to go into the victor life, and they realize how lonely and how traumatized they are, and how this was nothing like they thought they signed up for, and the reality of it sinking in. But now they're a celebrity, and it could even dive into all of the harm that celebrities have. Like, we see the rich and famous, but in reality, like, it's so hard, and there's so much to unpack with fame and fortune and all of the trauma that comes with the games and how they got that fame and fortune. So I think it can be a really, really good, I'm going to use the word satire here, satire on the celebrity life, which ties into another prequel I want to see, which is, what does a day-to-day look like for a capital citizen? I would love to get another peek in behind the curtain of a present-day capital citizen, not Snow in the first years it was building back up, but I want to see their biggest drama being the reality TV show. I wanted their biggest drama to be like, oh, I lost my bet in the Hunger Games because so-and-so died. I want to see that. However, with a twist, because I would also love to see how Plutarch's underground was formed. So maybe this capital person somehow discovers Plutarch's underground, and we see the inner workings of this rebellion network inside the capital and how they planted their roots, because it's all happening underneath Snow's radar, and we know that Snow loved control. So how is a full-fledged underground rebellion network able to thrive underneath Snow's iron grip of the capital? As we know, he doesn't actually have a really big iron grip because he thought he had one of the districts, and it's very clear he doesn't. So maybe it's the same thing with the capital, but I would love to explore that narrative. And I'm also thinking that maybe this is a dual story POV. We haven't gotten one of those yet, because I'd also love to see a story of a regular district citizen and them living their lives in the district. And I think it would be so cool if it was juxtaposed. So you have this regular district citizen, and you have this capital citizen, and their lives are 180 complete difference. And then somehow they both get involved with Plutarch's underground, and they meet in the rebellion. Maybe they fall in love. Who knows? Maybe that could be part of it. I'm a sucker for the love story. very Romeo and Juliet, star-crossed lovers, bring that all back together. But I think it'd be so interesting to get a dual perspective, a dual POV, and it would just really continue to tell that narrative of the wealth gap. And I think it would also continue the narrative of not everyone in the capital is inherently bad. Not everyone in the capital is inherently bad. They were just born there. That's all that they know. But given the chance to do good, in Catching Fire, they do talk about how Victor's children often end up in the Hunger Games because it makes for good TV. It's one of the big reasons why Katniss doesn't want to have kids. Now being a Victor really doesn't want to have kids because her and Peeta's kid would be in the Hunger Games because that would be good TV. It's also evidence for the Capitol rigging the reapings, but I'm going to put a pin right there because that's not what we're talking about. Because I think it'd be an interesting story to tell about two Victors kid going into the Hunger Games and following their story, because you have a child of two prodigies, how the media is going to spin that story and the propaganda, and also is the Capitol trying to keep that kid alive, or is the Capitol trying to get rid of that kid from the very first go? Because if that kid wins, do they become this icon, this all-star, if you will? I don't know, but I'd love to see that story. Even more so, I'd love to see a story of the inner networkings of just how the games operate. We have a really great introduction about us on Birds and Snakes, and I would love to see the game maker side, the betting side, how logistically all of that works. But again, I want it from a different perspective than we got from Snow, who created it. And I don't want it from someone who's just like abusing it, but maybe it's a story of Plutarch's Underground. I think there's so much to tell about Plutarch's Underground and how we can see these inner workings of the Capitol and how these things are happening, but in like a good light. Is that a right word? I don't know. I just want to see it. I want to know. I'm curious. I could speculate all day long, but I won't have answers until Susie C gives them to me. But overall, I really want more stories outside of the Capitol and District 12. I would love to know stories and characters and people who are living in other districts. I don't know about you guys, but when I was first reading the books, I definitely was on those like maps, and I was in Alabama at the time. That's where I'm from. Yeehaw, in case you ever hear me go into a very slight Southern accent, that is why. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm agriculture. I am District 11, baby. And in every speculation map, District 11 was always the same because it was always the South, even though we never got our first official map until Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the movie. But I'd love to know a narrative and a story from the point of view of someone in a different district. We don't know anyone from 6 or 5 or 1 or 10, really. We barely meet Chaff. Like, we really don't meet a lot of characters. We really know the most about 12, obviously. A little bit about 11, 4, 2, kind of 3, kind of 8. We don't know 9, kind of 7. I want more stories. I just want more in-depth stories of characters in this universe, in this world. That is all. All right, y'all, that is my list of the more stories that I want to hear from this Hunger Games universe that Suzanne Collins has wrote. But I know that's not the end-all be-all list. I know y'all have some thoughts, so tell me in the comments below, what more stories and narratives do you want from this world? Suzanne is just giving them to us right now, and I'm like, Mom, please feed me. I want more. I'm craving. I'm hungry. Feed me. So what more stories do you guys want to hear? I might do a part 2. Honestly, if there is even more to talk about on this topic, don't put it past me. I will continue to yap and continue reading. Happy reading. At this point, when this goes live, I am most likely, if not almost done with Sunrise on the Reaping, but done maybe with Sunrise on the Reaping. We shall see. Crossing fingers. But to you all, happy reading Sunrise on the Reaping. I will have a full review and, more importantly, an analysis deep dive on that book and theories to come, speculations to come very, very soon. Stay tuned, like, follow, subscribe, engage for more. Yeah, more Hungry Games. I got so much prep for you guys. Get so ready, get sat, get buckled in. Let's go. And on that note, oh, she went naked. Happy reading.